Have you ever wondered what happens when you meet the right person at the wrong time, over and over again? What if every decision you make keeps pulling you apart from the one person who truly understands you? If you've ever felt like timing has ruined everything in your life, then you need to stay with me because this story will hit differently. But before we dive into this incredible journey, make sure you hit that subscribe button and smash that, because trust me, you don't want to miss what happens next in this channel. The story begins with Rosie Dunn and Alex Stewart, two best friends who have known each other since they were small children, growing up together in their small English town. Their bond is unbreakable, the kind of friendship where they share everything, support each other through all of life's challenges, and can't imagine a world without the other person by their side. On the night of Rosie's 18th birthday, everything changes when they go out celebrating at a bar together. The alcohol flows freely, inhibitions disappear, and in a moment of pure emotion and honesty, they share a passionate kiss that reveals feelings neither of them had openly acknowledged before. But fate has a cruel sense of humor, because immediately after this kiss, Rosie loses her balance, falls off a stool, and hits her head hard enough to knock herself completely unconscious. She wakes up the next morning in a hospital bed with absolutely no memory of what happened the night before, including the kiss that could have changed everything between them. Alex doesn't realize she has no recollection of their intimate moment, so when Rosie tells him she wishes that night had never happened and never wants to discuss it again, he interprets this as a complete rejection of his feelings. This misunderstanding becomes the first of many missed opportunities that will define their relationship for years to come. Life continues and both teenagers prepare for their school dance, a milestone event that should bring them closer together. Rosie had initially turned down an invitation from Greg, the most attractive guy in school, because she and Alex had already planned to attend the dance together, as they always did everything together. However, Alex confesses to Rosie that he's interested in a beautiful blonde named Bethany, and after some discussion where Rosie suggests he should take Bethany instead, Alex agrees and Rosie decides to accept Greg's invitation after all. Before the dance, Alex excitedly tells Rosie that he's no longer inexperienced, having been intimate with Bethany, and while Rosie tries to hide her disappointment and jealousy, she pushes those feelings deep down and pretends to be happy for her best friend. On the night of the dance, Alex drives Rosie to the elegant hotel where the event is being held, and they separate to spend the evening with their respective dates. Throughout the night, even as they dance with Bethany and Greg, Rosie and Alex keep stealing glances at each other across the dance floor, their eyes meeting with an unspoken longing that neither is willing to acknowledge. Later that evening, Rosie and Greg go upstairs to a hotel room where they become intimate. But the encounter goes disastrously wrong when the protection they're using fails and becomes stuck inside Rosie. Greg panics and abandons Rosie in her moment of need, so she calls the only person she trusts completely, which is Alex. Without hesitation, Alex leaves Bethany on the dance floor and drives Rosie to the hospital, where a nurse helps her in an extremely awkward and embarrassing situation. This moment shows the depth of their friendship, and how Alex will always be there for Rosie no matter what, even if it means leaving his own date behind. Several months pass and both friends receive incredible news about their futures. Alex earns a prestigious scholarship to Harvard University, while Rosie gets accepted into a hotel management program at Boston University, which means they'll both be moving to the United States together to pursue their dreams. They're both thrilled at the prospect of starting this new chapter of their lives side by side in America, just as they've done everything else together. However, Rosie begins experiencing persistent nausea and visits a local drugstore to find something to help with her symptoms. A clerk named Ruby, who will become an important person in Rosie's life, suggests that Rosie should take a pregnancy test. The test comes back positive, confirming Rosie's worst fears that she's expecting Greg's baby from their disastrous encounter at the school dance. Rosie faces an impossible decision, knowing that if she tells Alex about the pregnancy, he would immediately sacrifice his Harvard scholarship and his entire future to stay in England and support her. She can't bear the thought of being responsible for destroying his dreams and opportunities, so she makes the heartbreaking choice to keep the pregnancy a secret from him. Rosie initially plans to have the baby and give it up for adoption so she can still attend Boston University just a few months later than originally planned, allowing her to eventually reunite with Alex in America. Alex has to leave for the States without understanding the real reason why Rosie can't come with him, and they share an emotional goodbye at the airport where both of them are in tears, not knowing how dramatically their lives are about to diverge. Back in England, Rosie continues living with her parents as her pregnancy progresses, still committed to her adoption plan so she can pursue her education and career. But when she finally gives birth to a beautiful baby daughter, everything changes in an instant. The moment she holds her child, Rosie realizes she cannot give her away, and she decides to keep her baby and name her Katie. This decision means abandoning her college plans and accepting life as a full-time young mother, working as a maid at a local hotel, even though she still dreams of one day owning her own hotel. One day, while Rosie is out with Katie in a stroller, she unexpectedly runs into Bethany, who learns about Rosie's baby and immediately tells Alex. Alex flies back to England to confront Rosie about why she never told him about Katie, and Rosie explains that she didn't want him to sacrifice his Harvard education and bright future for her sake. Alex forgives her and spends several days getting to know Katie, and he asks Rosie if he can be Katie's godfather, which she happily accepts. Eventually, Alex must return to Boston while Rosie remains in England, raising her daughter alone. Over in America, Alex is drinking by himself at a bar when an attractive blonde woman approaches him, introduces herself as Sally, and asks if he'll buy her a drink, which begins a new relationship in his life. The years continue passing, and Rosie and Alex maintain their friendship by regularly sending video messages to each other, sharing updates about their separate lives. Alex develops a serious relationship with Sally, and they move in together, while Rosie becomes close friends with Ruby from the drugstore, and Katie grows from a baby into a young girl. One day, Alex sends Rosie a plane ticket to visit him in Boston, and she's filled with excitement and hope, thinking that maybe this trip will finally be the moment when their relationship evolves beyond friendship. When she arrives at the airport, they share a joyful reunion filled with warmth and affection. Alex takes Rosie all around the city, showing her his life in America, and they spend the entire day exploring, laughing, and flirting with each other, just like old times. After their wonderful day together, they return to Alex's apartment where Sally has been waiting for him to come home. Rosie stays for an elaborate dinner with both Alex and Sally, and it becomes painfully obvious to everyone that Alex and Rosie share a natural connection and compatibility that Alex and Sally simply don't have. During dinner, it's also revealed that Sally is expecting a baby, which completely shocks Rosie because Alex hadn't mentioned this significant detail to her at all. After the meal, the three of them attend an art exhibition put on by Sally's artist friend named Herb, but Rosie becomes increasingly uncomfortable with the situation and leaves the show early. Alex chases after her to find out what's wrong, and Rosie confronts him about spending the entire day with her while his pregnant partner was at home alone. Alex dismisses her concerns by saying it doesn't matter because the two of them were just having fun together, which leads to an argument, and Rosie leaves upset. Back in England, Rosie makes the difficult decision to reach out to Greg, Katie's biological father who had moved to Ibiza when he learned about the pregnancy years earlier, because she wants Katie to have the opportunity to know her dad. To Rosie's surprise, Greg actually shows up and expresses genuine interest in being part of Katie's life. The three of them begin spending time together as a family unit, doing activities and building a relationship. As time goes on, Greg and Rosie rekindle their romantic relationship and eventually become engaged to be married. Alex receives an invitation to their wedding, but chooses not to attend, unable to watch Rosie marry someone else. A few weeks after the wedding was supposed to happen, Rosie decides to call Alex's apartment, but Sally answers the phone instead. Sally tells Rosie that she and Alex had separated around the time of Rosie's wedding, but before she can explain more, her water breaks and she has to hang up. Before the call ends, Rosie hears Sally shouting for Herb, the artist from the exhibition, which reveals that Sally had been unfaithful. Rosie immediately texts Alex asking what happened with Sally, and he confirms that Sally had been cheating with Herb and the baby she was carrying wasn't even his child. Rosie's parents embark on a trip around the world, and Rosie receives a promotion from maid to receptionist at the hotel where she works. Bethany, who has become a successful international model, checks into Rosie's hotel one day, and they catch up on each other's lives. When Bethany mentions she'll be traveling to Boston soon, Rosie suggests she should look up Alex while she's there. Tragedy strikes when Rosie's father suddenly passes away while on vacation, leaving Rosie absolutely devastated and heartbroken. Alex immediately flies back to England for the funeral to be there for Rosie and comfort her during this terrible time. Greg also arrives at the funeral, but he seems completely oblivious to Rosie's emotional pain and pulls her away from Alex. This moment makes Alex realize with complete clarity that he's in love with Rosie and that he would treat her so much better than Greg does. As Alex flies back to the United States, he writes a letter confessing his love for Rosie and telling her that if she doesn't feel the same way, he'll never bring it up again. When the letter arrives at Rosie's house, Greg intercepts it and locks it away in a desk drawer before Rosie can see it, deliberately hiding Alex's confession from her. Rosie finally decides to stop putting her dreams on hold and begins making plans to open her own hotel, the goal she's had since she was young. By this time, Katie and Toby, who is Ruby's son, have grown into teenagers and have become as close as Rosie and Alex once were. Alex sends Rosie a message asking her one simple but loaded question about whether she's truly happy with Greg. After thinking carefully about her answer, Rosie responds that she, Greg, and Katie are a family, and she's happy with her family, though her words seem to lack genuine conviction. Greg calls Rosie from a business trip, telling her he's staying at the same hotel where they had their high school dance so many years ago, and that he'll need to extend his stay longer than originally planned. Something about the situation feels wrong to Rosie, so she asks Ruby to check their hotel's computer system, and they discover that Greg has reserved the bridal suite for the weekend. Rosie and Ruby immediately travel to the hotel to confront Greg, and they find him there with another woman. In a moment of rage and betrayal, Rosie punches Greg in the face before returning home to begin throwing all of his possessions out of her house. While doing this thorough cleaning, Rosie comes across the locked desk drawer and finally discovers Alex's letter confessing his love for her. She immediately initiates a video chat with Alex, but Bethany appears on the screen instead. When Alex joins the call, they reveal together that they're now engaged and getting married the following week. They ask Rosie to be the best man at their wedding, and she accepts the role while struggling to hold back her tears. Rosie expresses her despair to Ruby, saying that maybe she and Alex just aren't meant to be together after all these years of missing each other. Ruby refuses to let Rosie give up and talk sense into her, convincing her to arrive early to the wedding and tell Alex how she really feels before it's too late to change anything. A week later, Rosie, Ruby, Katie, and Toby prepare to fly to America for Alex's wedding. However, their flight experiences significant delays, and they arrive at the church just as Alex and Bethany are walking out as husband and wife, having missed the ceremony entirely. At the wedding reception, Rosie stands up to give her speech as the best man and recalls precious moments from their childhood together, including the night of her 18th birthday that she still cannot remember. She thanks Alex for being an amazing friend and tells him he's the best thing that has ever happened to her, promising that no matter what happens in life, she will always love him. After a pause that hangs in the air, she quickly clarifies that she means she'll love him, like a sister loves a brother and a friend loves a friend, unable to confess her true romantic feelings. After her speech concludes, the wedding guests begin pairing up to dance, with Bethany dancing with Alex, Katie with Toby, and Ruby with a man named Phil, whom she's just met. As they dance, Toby leans in to kiss Katie, but she panics and pushes him away before running out to the roof. Both Alex and Rosie witness this scene and follow Katie outside to make sure she's all right. Katie is visibly shaken and tells them she'll just ask Toby to forget what happened, but Alex warns her that if she rejects Toby now, he'll spend the rest of his life searching for someone perfect, but will never find anyone as good as her. The way Alex delivers this warning makes it obvious he's not just talking about Toby's feelings, but about his own experience with Rosie. Katie insists she can't imagine kissing Toby because it would be like if Rosie and Alex kissed, not understanding the painful irony of what she's saying. At that moment, Toby joins them on the roof, and Katie runs to him and gives him a quick kiss on the lips, deciding to take a chance on love. The young couple returns to the party, leaving Rosie and Alex alone together under the night sky. Alex finally tells Rosie the truth about what happened on the night of her 18th birthday, explaining that he had only just realized that day that she didn't remember their kiss. Rosie suddenly understands that the only reason Alex had taken Bethany to their high school dance all those years ago was because he thought Rosie didn't have the same feelings for him. Even though it's completely obvious that they both still love each other deeply after all these years, There's nothing that can be done about it now, because Alex just married Bethany. Rosie and Alex say goodbye at the airport, and she returns to England with Katie, Toby, and Ruby. Once back home, Rosie uses her savings to purchase a manor house and spends months renovating and transforming it into the hotel lodge she's always dreamed of owning. On the day of the grand opening, she hosts a celebration party for all her friends and the local community. In the middle of the party, Alex appears out of nowhere, alone without any luggage or his wife, and asks Rosie if he can have a room. Rosie takes him to a beautiful suite with a view of the sea, and Alex turns to face her with an intense expression. He asks her a simple question that carries decades of meaning, asking if she'll go to the dance with him. Rosie looks at him with tears in her eyes and responds that it's better late than never. And with those words, Alex sweeps her into his arms and kisses her passionately, finally giving them the happy ending they should have had 30 years earlier.